James and the Express. One night, Gordon and Henry were alone with James, although the Fat Controller was beginning to think well of him. Whenever a chance came, the other engines talked of nothing but bootlaces. "Remember, one had to be used to get you out of trouble, James," they would tease. James tried to get his own back, talking about engines who got shut up in tunnels and stuck on hills, but they wouldn't listen. "You talk too much, little James," said Gordon. "A fine, strong engine like me has something to talk about. I'm the only engine who can pull the Express. When I'm not there, they need two engines. Think of that. I have pulled Expresses for years, and I have never once lost my way. I seem to know the right line by instinct." Every wise engine knows, of course, that it's the signalman who works the points to make sure that the engines run on the right lines. But Gordon was so proud that he had forgotten. "Wake up, James," said Gordon the next morning. "It's nearly time for the Express. What are you doing? Odd jobs? Oh well, we all have to start somewhere, don't we? Run along now and fetch my coaches. Oh, don't be late now." James went to fetch Gordon's coaches. They were all shining with lovely new paint. He was careful not to bump them, and they followed him smoothly into the station, singing happily, "We're going away, we're going away." "I wish I was coming with you," said James. "I should love to pull the Express and go flying along the line." Gordon, making much noise and blowing of steam, got ready to back onto the train. The Fat Controller was on the train with other important people, and as soon as they heard the guard's whistle, Gordon started. Look at me now, he puffed, and the coaches glided after him out of the station. Poop, 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 poop. "Goodbye, little James. See you tomorrow." James watched the train disappear and then went back to work. He pushed some trucks into their proper sidings and went to fetch some coaches for another train. James had just brought some coaches to the platform when he heard a mournful, quiet shush, 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 shush. And there was Gordon trying to sidle into the station without being noticed. "Hello, Gordon. Is it tomorrow?" asked James. Gordon didn't answer. He just let off steam feebly. "Did you lose your way, Gordon?" "No, it was lost for me. I was switched off the main line onto the loop. I had to go all around and back again." "Perhaps it was instinct," said James. Meanwhile, all the passengers hurried to the booking office. "We want our money back," they shouted. Everybody was making a scene, but the Fat Controller climbed on a trolley and blew the guard's whistle so loudly that they all stopped to look at him. Then he promised them a new train at once. "Gordon can't do it," said the Fat Controller to James. "Will you pull it for us, James?" "Yes, sir, I'll try." So James was coupled up to the front, and everybody got in again. "Do your best, James," said the Fat Controller. Come on, called James. You're pulling us well, sang the coaches. James was enjoying himself. Bridges and stations flashed by, the passengers cheered, and they soon reached Arran Station. Everybody got out and said thank you to James, and the Fat Controller was very impressed. "Well done," he said. "Would you like to pull the Express sometimes?" Yes, please, said James. Woohoo! The next day, when James came by, Gordon was pushing trucks. I like some quiet work for a change, he said. I'm teaching these trucks manners. You did well with those coaches, I hear. Good, we'll show them. And he gave his trucks a bump. James and Gordon are now good friends. James sometimes takes the express to give Gordon a rest. Gordon never talks about bootlaces, and they are both quite agreed on the subject of trucks.